So it looks like I'm at the National Museum of Transportation, and they have just finished cosmetically restoring the Aerotrain here. So just taking a look at it down here before we go in. Done a very good job. Done a very great job. It looks amazing, and also they have replaced the what is that? Information plaque. That's pretty cool. Yeah, the train looks good, and also they looks like they have extended the reach of the bell, so now you can ring it. So I won't get this too close to my phone so it doesn't obliterate the speaker. That's cool. Yeah, they've done a great job. Love it. Looks good. So I'm down and back over here on the other side of that switcher, and we have coming up on two engines over here. See, actually we got a passenger car down there, baggage car right here, and a railway post office right here. And to our left we got some tank cars, a 3-dome and a single dome. And at the head of this, I guess of this train, we have a brilliant example of a USRA Mikado. So built in the 1920s. See, even after the I guess the USRA stuff became not really mandated, it was still a very popular design, so they just kept building engines, and it worked. We also have one of only a few surviving of engines off of the Burlington Zephyr. Now, well, you know what I mean. These shovel nose streamliners off the CB&Q. So if anyone wants to pause the video and read that, be my guest. But yeah, again, another iconic engine here at the museum. So I guess the 551's also iconic too, in a sense. Here on the other side of the Silver Charger, I have a Russian decapod built in 1917 for the Russian State Railways. Before this thing, I don't know if you heard of it, the 1917 revolution happened, and well, a bunch of these were stuck in the States. And actually, this locomotive's sister engine, 1630, you can find operational at the Illinois State Railway Museum outside Chicago. I personally like to visit there someday, but yeah. No small engine at all. Another one of my favorites here at the museum. So I've made my way back to the old namesake of my YouTube channel, which has just recently received a new headlight, which I guess is technically more accurate to when the engine was operating in like the 20s and 30s and maybe the teens, but like, I'm happy. I think it looks good. So maybe it'll spark a restoration for a restoration for the old engine. But yeah, I'm also back here at the old Boston and Albany 440. All tucked back here underneath this building. Also, another fellow Chicago North Western locomotive parked back here. So, well, I mean, not at first, but it did eventually, as that sign says, operate for the Chicago Northwestern at one point, so that's neat. I also got this GG1 tucked back here, painted in an Amtrak livery. So yeah, neat stuff tucked back here at the National Museum of Transportation by Barrett's Tunnel. Also, oh yeah, that's right, the tunnel. My mind's kind of all over the place here. So take a look at the old tunnel down that way. So hopefully I'll get a chance before the trolley comes. Yeah, there's Old Barrett's Tunnel. I'm just kind of get up closer. Yep, there it is. But yeah, they have a nice new shiny plaque over here. It says this place on the says it's on the National Register of Historic Places. It's got 2 shiny new plaques. So, yep, that 060 frame is still in there, just chilling. Yep. Still back here in this far building close to the main line, looking at, got some steam engines coming up. It's the Canadian National Pacific over here. So yeah, as far as I'm aware, it's the only 462 on display in the museum. That they at least haven't, I believe so, yeah. There's that GG1 all the way down there. And here's one of my personal favorites. St. Louis Iron Mountain Southern 635. It's a old 10-wheeler operated on the St. Louis Iron Mountain Southern and the Missouri Pacific. One of the only surviving engines off the Missouri Pacific, too. Also got this Illinois Terminal electric engine, too. Oh, and over there we got the 2156, everyone's favorite Mallet. And here comes the trolley. So take a look at the 2156. Well, here she is. 2156, Norfolk and Western. It's one of the most powerful steam engines ever built. Probably, I'd say it's probably almost even powerful than the Big Boy, which I recently saw. But yeah, it's one of the largest engines they got here. I say glad she's back in St. Louis. So it made sense for her to be in Norfolk. Not Norfolk. What was it? Whatchamacallit? Wherever it was. I mean, it made sense for her to be in Virginia. But I mean, personally, I think she belongs in St. Louis. Mainly, because St. Louis has Norfolk and Western history too. So Norfolk and Western had trackage through St. Louis in the 60s and 70s and 80s, I believe. But yeah, I'm glad to see the engine here. I mean, it's been here for over a year now, so I mean, she's not like a new sight at the museum, but I mean, going from barely even able to remember seeing the 2156 in St. Louis to having her here now it's great. It's really great. And over here by the Abbott building, this great the Missouri Pacific RS3 built in the 50s. Great example of diesel power, probably one of the only off the Missouri Pacific. This is probably one of the largest engines another one of the largest engines at the museum in New York Central Mohawk 282. Another rare example of an engine at the museum. I don't know how many of these survived. I know there's one. I think there's one in Indiana. I don't know how many. I don't know if that's the only. Oh, excuse me. I don't know if that's the other surviving one, but great example of big steam from the east. And from big steam in the east to big steam from the southwest. The 210-4 Santa Fe 5011. Another one of the largest rigid frame engines at the museum. And once again, only one of a few that survive in the world. Or I guess in the States at least. Considering it's the only place they were built. Yeah, now just kind of moseying into the Abbott building. Beautiful engine. And we go to one of the smaller engines here, a 440 from the Boston and Providence. It's actually interesting. It's a Dutch wagon type, meaning that the cylinders and connecting rods are all inside the engine's frame, which is more popular in Europe, but wasn't really popular in the States. I believe this is probably the only example in the States that we have of one of these. Another interesting engine here. It's a Camelback, 440 Camelback. off of the Delaware Lackawanna. It's the only 440 Camelback that survived. One of only a few Camelbacks in the States that survived. But yeah, a great example of an engine here. And no trip to the Museum of Transportation would be complete without seeing the 1522, everyone's favorite mountain class locomotive, mountain type locomotive. Ran an excursion service throughout the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. And today she has been preserved here, thankfully. Unfortunately, though, as I've heard from museum employees and volunteers, the engine needs an extensive restoration before it can ever run again, which would cost in excess of over, get this, $1 million. So it's unfortunate, but thankfully we haven't lost her. She didn't end up like that. I'm drawing a blank on its number, that Grand Trunk engine. I'm drawing a blank, and I'll probably have its number. Its number will be shown here. But yeah, thankfully it has been preserved, and it's all lit up too. Like, you can even see in the cab, you got a light going in the cab. And also we got this 080, much better than the Lionel one. They got on display here. Very good looking. Also got this E unit off the Burlington CB&Q. Probably just went by for itself. Again, another great example of diesel motive power. Let's go up here. See what there is to see up here. So back here at the back of the Abbott building, we got this very nice Burlington observation car. Actually, I think it's a business car. But yeah, you can step on the deck here. It's almost set up like a little station platform here. It's really neat. You also got various other passenger cars, along with this Missouri Pacific observation car, which is really nice. Also over here we got a Forney from the Chicago Elevated, built at the Rhode Island Locomotive Works. So, interesting example of an engine that somehow managed to survive. Yeah. Another one of my favorite engines here, Wabash 573, a 260, which was the last steam engine off of the Wabash. It was used to take trains over a bridge because the bridge couldn't support diesel engines, so it was kept a few years after the Wabash dieselized. And once they no longer needed it, they donated it here to the museum. It was actually restored a couple years back, and they placed it underneath the Abbott building here. And also you can get a glance inside the engine's cab. It's just at the right height. But yeah, once again, one of my favorite engines at the museum here. And also, like right up here, we have one of GM's Electromotive diesel engines, the quote-unquote diesel that did it. That started the push to dieselize American railroads. One of the oldest diesel engines built. One of the oldest FT probably, I'd say. So down here we got a Chesapeake and Ohio Berkshire. I think it's the only Berkshire here at the museum. But it's a great example. So, and down here we have another interesting engine. It's a Hudson. I think it's either the oldest Hudson ever built or the oldest preserved Hudson off the Nickel Plate Road, New York, Chicago, St. Louis. But yeah, it's got elephant ears on it. It's a very nice, once again, another good example of an engine, Hudson I think it's the only Hudson here at the museum. I don't know for sure though. Pretty sure it is though. I had two giants. Certainly bigger, two of the bigger engines at the museum. This realized it's got a Mars light on it. It almost reminds me of 844. In a way. Take one more look over here at the Berkshire. See a kind of beautiful example of an engine. And I'd say probably the one of the main attractions here at the museum, without a doubt, definitely the museum icon, Union Pacific 4006. One of 8 surviving big boys, one of which has been returned to steam. I'm pretty sure many of you know that already. Built in 1941 like many of the other big boys. It is once again the largest successful steam locomotive ever built in the world. See, if you guys saw the last locomotives in review, you know what I'm talking about. Looks like it's been freshly painted almost. And if there is nobody up here, which it appears there is not, I'm gonna run up in the cab real quick. Yeah. Yep. Imagine it was 4014, that'd be freaking awesome. Yep. Oh, would you look at that? They got a QR code, might scan that. They got all the controls labeled so you know what does what. Great. Yep. There's the firebox. Can't see crap in there. I heard it's about the size of a standard bedroom in the United States. And from the largest steam locomotive ever built to the largest diesel locomotive ever built, also Union Pacific, go figure, because they just had to one-up themselves. Centennial, I forget what the classification for it is. It's 6944. Built in 1969 for the, they were built on the anniversary of the whatchamacallit, Golden Spike driving. But yeah, it's one of the it's got 2 diesel engines in it. Without a doubt, one of the great example of surviving diesel power in the United States. Also got this tender snow plow, I think it was a Cotton Belt. Really Southern Pacific, but who cares? I say, ironically enough, why on earth would the Cotton Belt need a snow plow? Like, it just baffles me. Like, they didn't have any, like, do they have, I mean, they might have had track in Illinois, I guess. So it makes some sense, but I mean, it's the St. Louis Southwestern. There's no snow south of St. Louis. I'm just confused, but I mean, glad it's here. So over here, down off that switcher in the 1621, we got a Spokane, Portland, Seattle Caboose. I'm gonna hop up in here, check it out. It's a good Caboose. It's a good Caboose. It's preserved pretty well, I'd say. So unfortunately, you can't get up in the cupola, which is unfortunate, but I guess there are safety reasons behind that choice. But yeah, we got, say, a lot of the it was the living quarters for train crew and freight trains and such, so we got a lot of things. There's a stove back here, water tank, sink. It looks like one of the windows is boarded up. I guess that must have broke at some point. But yeah, nothing much, just a Caboose, but at the same time, glad it's preserved, glad it's here. And once again, I found myself at the very back of the museum at my channel namesake, my beloved Chicago Northwestern 1015. Even though allegedly that's my name, but I think we can share it. Fortunately, the engine's still in the sorry state. Yep. Riding away at the edges. You know, honestly, I've set a goal for myself in life. Someday, I don't know when that's gonna be. Oh God, it looks like the cab's even worse than it was last time. Jeez. But someday, don't know when this is gonna be. Don't know if it's ever gonna happen, but my goal in life, one of my major goals in life, is to get this engine restored. I'm not just talking cosmetically. I want this engine running, whether it be on the main line or like a 500-foot spur. I don't give a crap. I want this engine running. I really do. That's my goal in life. Get this engine restored. Yeah. It's a shame he's gone this way.